Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the 13th Fleet After Action Report. I am Chris, your host. Not going to waste a lot of time with any preamble here, although I do want to say I am so sorry about Saturday. I had very much planned to go to Thunder Forge tournament and have that streaming, but unfortunately, I just did not feel terribly well that day and just was not up for that kind of travel. It was going to be a really long day and a really early day, and I just was not set up for it. So I apologize both to them and to you guys for not getting that video to you. But we do have Rebellion in the Rim action to talk about, and kind of funny to see Nick in his Jedi robes there. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing pretty good.
I'm
Monday
good.
after time change, so dragging a little bit.
I can understand that entirely. In fact, I'm very much in the same shape. And we're kind of dragging on time because we did not actually get to do any kind of report after we did the pivotal battle. And I want to apologize for everybody for not being able to transfer that pivotal battle over to YouTube. But unfortunately, my video editor did not want to handle 7 hours of video.
Wow. Okay.
So we will be, the next time we do a pivotal battle, we will be breaking that up into each turn. I'll just stop and start the recording, and then we can go on from there. And I should have videos that I can work with that way next time, but we're a little ways off from the next pivotal battle.
So we doing a double feature tonight then?
What's that? Oh
Talking
yeah,
about the
we are
pivotal?
doing a double feature. We're gonna. Although to be perfectly honest, there's a lot less to talk about in a pivotal battle than there is in a normal round of the Rebellion in the Rim. Now you will notice that right now I have the old map set up. It looks like Garrett is currently working on the new map, and we will have that as soon as possible. But I'm not asking him to rush because we do want to
Yeah,
talk about the things that have happened here.
yeah, quickly important question. I'm trying to remember the planets. So Empire won at Rings of Kifrene.
Yes.
Rebels won at Utapau defense. Where did we? What was it? Second planet we attacked, Reuben.
Our second planet was Null Hutta, right? What was the other Hut
Okay,
system?
cool. Thanks.
And we won there. And then Chris beat me at, what was that dumb island
It's
nowhere?
Salukami or Salukami, however you.
Yeah,
Sulukamai?
something along those lines.
Mhm.
Something, something. Star Wars.
So
Well,
we'll just go ahead and let you guys know that the pivotal battle we chose, the Empire was had to choose, and we chose the conquest of Felucia, and it was a very interesting fight and a lot closer than I thought it was going to be actually. But then I also thought
mhm.
we were going to be on the
Um,
winning side of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, everybody thinks they're always going to be on the winning side. That's kind of how everything starts. So Felucida happened to be our planetary ion cannon, and it's a little different than what you'll see in the typical yellow, because in this version, a friendly ship from the fleet can spend a command token to fire an ion cannon, and the token does not go away. So friendly ship can spend a command token to fire the ion cannon, measuring from distance 3 or 4 of one of your friend tokens. The tokens don't go away when they fire, and they can still be VCX'd around. Now, we don't have any strategic in any of our fleets right now, so it didn't come up. Um, Really, there was a lot of interesting impact on the game from the whole using a, what, 9x4, a 9x3,
9x3.
because what happened is I put all of our I haven't watched the stream. I just, I was there, right? So I don't know exactly what all was seen on stream because I know that the camera lens was a little tighter, so some of the flanks were missing. But I basically made kind of like a corner cut off box with my ion cannon tokens and then set up like all of our fleets all together in a defensive position. Other thing to note about objective that's different than the planetary ion cannon yellow is that the defender places all ships first. So, of course, being the nefarious rebel that I am, I put all my ships in a position that said, hey, come fight us where we have our cannon things. It'll be great. And obviously, the Empire goes, well, no, that's a terrible idea. Why would I do that? He didn't come in the box. So, in the end, it
We
turned
didn't
into
want to
us
find
both
out what was in the
closing.
box.
What? Yeah, so basically, our fleets kind of just, closed door hinged into each other. From the very beginning, I wanted to make sure that the Rebel Alliance won the squad war, and I was very insistent on my commanders to keep their squadrons under our flak. I see like it's a very consistent misplay, in my opinion, that I see from a lot of people playing, especially in this, that they send their squadrons out, especially their generics, out from under their protective flak bubble, and then they just get eviscerated. I'm like, all right, we got to stay under the flak. Their Imperial squadrons are faster than we are. Stay under our flak. We can win because we have more generics and we have good flak. Like the Assault Frigate has 2 blues, the Providence has 2 blacks, all the torpedoes have blues, and if we set up in a close formation and make them come into us, we can win the squad war. And I also wanted to make sure that if we engaged at the fleet level, it would be along a line where the Imperial ships would have their own proximity mines. And incidentally, because of how everything happened to work out, both of those things happened. We were able to win the squadron war, and we were able to force the Empire to deal with their own proxy mines. Now, they weren't particularly effective because you can just kind of flak them. We both kind of rolled into each other pretty slowly. The ISD stayed mostly out of the fight. It's like the big pivotal part of the biggest fleet element part. Because like the biggest thing I noticed was that in these types of games, when I'm telling other teammates, hey, I want you to like activate something, and like I'm looking at like the whole game at a macro level and going, okay, this stuff is generally safe to activate. You think of ships more along the lines of groups of 3 smalls or 2 smalls or 1 large than each like individual discrete asset of a ship. Nick, how did you feel about that, kind of like taking that step back in size to really and commanding multiple people to try and get a strategy to happen?
So basically the Imperial fleet broke into 2 wings. We had the ISD, the Victory, and the Interdictor forming kind of like this front that swept across the horizontal plane. And then the Architects and Gladiators were forming like this lance along the bottom. Our goal was to try to force an engagement and apply pressure to one flank that would have to herd your ships into our like kill box with the Architects. There was always the risk that if you just slow rolled everything, then there's nothing we can do about that. But with the higher speed and maneuverability of Rebel ships, we needed to make sure that we presented ourselves kind of a trap that was really hard to escape. Because if we did just line up like an ISD against your MC-30s, they can just blow their payloads and fly off. And there's not a lot of consequence to that. So our plan, and again,
This is exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah, and I agree with you on the squadron. The squadron war was the most important part. We went into that knowing that we were at disadvantage. I think we were 3 or 4 squadrons down in total number. And with all of the like rebel bombers, like all these like tough squadrons, we knew it was not going to be easy to like kill like quickly. I think our issue was we didn't have like redundant squadron commands lined up. And so when we went into push with the squadron battle, we followed up with the expectation that we were going to be fighting, because on turn 1, when you're setting your turn 4 dial, we don't know. We don't know where the MC-30s are going to be. We didn't know where the assault frigate was going to be. So dials were set in a way that we were squadroning and then engineering, or squadroning and then navigating. And so we didn't have those that double push of like squadron, which
In
I
fact,
think we're
I
gonna.
did not take enough squadron commands to begin with. I was thinking that a lot of fire was going to go into that ISD, and it didn't happen that way.
And that's part of that's part of we don't know how these big battles are going to really go. We haven't played enough of them. For you, Chris, like when you're playing in your regular 200-point game and your ISD is the only ship, everybody focuses it, and they don't, sometimes they don't survive. But in a big game like that, there's so many other targets. It's the same reason we didn't target the Providence. There's so many other targets. I'm not going to waste my time cracking the paint on a large when I can put that into a medium or a small and maybe get a kill. So I think you were really worried.
I was worried for no reason.
Your turn 2 and 3 alignment, where you had a typical Imperial thing happen, where instead of your ships coming in a flat fronted, the triangles kind of take this echelon form, come in, and I was like, oh yeah, we got him perfect. He's doing the Imperial thing where they come in one at a time. But that stupid interjector.
Oh.
I hate that thing.
Don't knock it.
Points.
Don't knock it.
It just engineers. It's ridiculous. Like, I can't do anything about it. And I was like, well, we'll take the victory low-hanging fruit, I guess. Because it's low-hanging fruit when the projecting experts are sitting there spinning up. Just a pain in my butt to deal with all of their ships. But fortunately, we got the one down. I think that you definitely put your flotillas in a position where they couldn't effectively support the squad war. Ours were pretty well positioned to just sit there and keep churning out the squad token. Other ships were able to do stuff, which is based on my experience with this game, because we also have so many damn flotillas compared to you guys, that it makes us pretty solidly efficient at just pushing a whole bunch of our squadrons around.
Well, you also have all the a lot of
activation.
You also have a lot more boosted comms than we do, so that
we don't have
gave you a bit more reach.
Yeah, we don't have a single boosted comms. Because really, nobody was. Garrett, I think you're muted.
My bad. I was saying, like, Jeff and I's whole fleet is based around pushing squads and bombers. Right. So, and yeah, I mean that was the biggest thing in that battle was our fighters beat your fighters. Like, we just beat into the nose, and then it was what ships can we kill and not lose much, because we have really cheap stuff to lose. Like losing an MC-30 for us sucks, but it's like 70 points. But if we can take out your victory, that's 70 points base plus the upgrades that are loaded onto it. So,
but it still ended up a pretty close battle at the end, didn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't a large margin of victory.
It was I think like 90 points.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
I think barely
margin was
7 technically. I don't know if you can really use tournament points here.
Yeah,
it was over the 75-point margin for an extra XP, but that was about it. Stuff definitely dies really fast once it gets targeted, but man, it kind of like the 9x3 made it feel like it really took a long time for the.
I don't know. I mean, the Empire
game engagement,
like ignoring 3 feet of the other board. So I feel like the battle kind of ended up on a 6x3. But I think the biggest thing was
the approach was
we got to finish off your aces before they got to go a second time, or whatever it was. Because the planetary ion cannon, useless. I think we fired it twice at the ISD. Total waste of time. Right?
Yeah,
wasn't anywhere near any good. I like hit Nick's prox mines were more dangerous than the ion cannons, right? So, really, it was just once we won that squad battle, it freed us up to bomb, which is, I mean, because that Gladiator 2 or Gladiator 1 that is part of Sean's fleet, took
Yeah.
it took my CR90, an MC30, 2 squads, the Providence, and then finally the Assault Frigate to kill. That was an immense amount of resources to kill something that has 5 hull, right? It was ridiculous. Okay, and then that victory, and I think that's real. I mean, it was just squadrons in those 2 ships, so I thought it was good. But had you guys attacked a base with our other 2 things, I think we would have had an easier time winning even.
Our best case scenario I think was ion cannon.
For sure. Yeah.
Because we are so out deployed and outmaneuvered that forcing you guys to have to deploy first gives us at least an advantage. It neutralizes one of your advantages. And we knew we could kind of ignore the ion cannon.
Yeah. Now, Reuben and I were talking about this. The ion cannon on that large map, not that dangerous. If you try to attack a base with an ion cannon on a 3x3, good God, you're dead.
Yeah.
I think it's probably the most powerful one, since you can just continuously fire them off by spending command tokens.
Yeah, it's an extra shot every turn, basically.
Yeah.
But similarly, the arm station is kind of just like an extra shot every turn.
It's an extra shot every turn, and it's a target they have to waste shots on.
Yeah.
I wonder if we'll really see any of the base attacks come in 50-point games. They seem extremely risky to do.
They do. But having said that, we can go back into round 4 now, because that pretty much covered everything that happened there in the pivotal battle. It was a slow start and then a pretty dramatic finish there. So where did we start off in round 4?
So round 4, we started off.
Had the initiative.
Yep. So we sent Sean and the gang to Utapau. So that was our first attack there.
The gang.
Which they played Jason, so neither of them are here to talk about the game.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a close one. I know they were still trying to figure out who won after everything was done. At the end of round 6, they still weren't really entirely sure who had won that game.
Yeah,
it came down to
superior positions or precision.
Superior.
And Jason got a lot of points off that.
Okay.
A lot of victory tokens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it came down to his squads, his A-Wings getting in from behind and just making hits there.
Yeah. So I think he went down, got pretty behind on turn 3 or 2 when the decaps went off and one of his MC30s just exploded.
Yeah, he lost his flagship pretty early, I think.
And I think that actually made him more cautious in the way that he was flying, and actually slowed the game down a bit more than was intended.
Yeah, I know the Gladiator got popped exactly by an
victory.
Yep.
Yeah, so we barely squeezed out a defensive win there with our Cathion fleet. Again, super close. Most of these games are almost always so close. And then Reuben, where did we decide to go next? We sent me to the Rings of Kefrine, and I played against the Vortex.
Rings of Kefrine.
Speaking of games that were close.
Yeah. So we played Double Agent, which is a campaign objective. And I must have read that card 47 times. And it is real wordy. And I made a critical error. In the game, basically there's an objective token that goes on a ship. And when that ship is the objective ship, when it reveals a command, it gets a command token. For some reason, I read that card over and over and over. But I thought I had to destroy Nick's ship, that was the objective ship with the Double Agent, to get the token off it. So I just left the token on the ship the whole time. So he keep getting the benefit from it. And in the end, the points for it. But really, it was just Nick and I, squadrons, blew each other up. And I had more squadron points, so he won.
Yeah.
I think Valen Rudor survived.
Did I get maybe half points on a CR90?
Think maybe on my CR90. I think so.
Yeah, maybe.
I think that's what really put you over the edge.
And that was because I think you got most of my squadron. I think Valen Rudor, I think, survived. and you may have gotten half in the gladiator. Did I heal it?
I think you healed it.
Okay.
Trouble. Focusing. I think he healed it. And then, but yeah, I just couldn't. I even had a pretty meaty shot on you from my MC30, like a double.
Yeah, it was that. It was just that MC30, even at close range with the gladiator. You just don't have any. You have no dice fixing or extracts.
Well, no, but I hit you, but like I couldn't make the damage stick. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have enough follow up because all my fighters were dead. So
right, it was just like one shot. I went brace, redirect, evade the double. Okay, engineer, repair, fly away.
So yeah, and then the battle ended. So that was it, and that was an Imperial defensive win. And you're gonna base the ring.
We're gonna base that.
Yeah, which should be on the map there. Chris, did you get that map?
I have not. I can't really get into to do that, otherwise our video goes away. So I'll have to.
Okay.
I'll have to post an update on the Facebook page a little bit later on, and let everybody see it that way. And I'll probably edit it into the YouTube video, so everybody will see the correct map on the YouTube video, but won't see it here live on the stream. So I apologize for that. Just the way things are working out there.
But the most important thing here was I fought at a planet with ordnance. So I could get X-Frax on my stupid MC30 after like a month and a half.
I sent you there.
Now I gotta decide what I'm gonna take on my gladiator.
Yeah, you get an officer.
I could get an officer.
Officer and ordnance. There's some good options there.
So the next up, I'll be perfectly honest. I wanted to go up against Jeff this week, but then when I saw that it was either going to be Jeff or Reuben, and I figured if I didn't declare the attack, Reuben was just going to hold off and come to wherever I was. That's the state of my ego right now, and I apologize. I just honestly thought that you felt like you were better prepared for the ISD and would come wherever I was going. So I decided, well, if that's the case, I'm just going to go ahead and take the initiative, and went after whatever the hell the name of that planet is. I always have trouble with that. The big thing is it's the place with ion cannons. That was what was important there. And the other important factor is that it had advanced gunnery as one of the objectives. And that was a very, very important factor in our game.
It was very
So yeah, I mean, I had just gotten Nav 1 for the ISD, so I could do some pretty nice navigation shenanigans there. And my entire thought process was I wanted the ISD in the middle of the map to just maintain control there. And the second piece to that is, since Reuben doesn't have any squads, I wanted to hold my squads back out of his flak zone and use them to threaten the hammerhead, because I knew the hammerhead had some shenanigans going on. And I think I succeeded at both goals, but I also had a little bit of help because Reuben slightly miscalculated on his placement on his movement on his assault frigate, which allowed me to get double shots on it, and that pretty much did the game there.
That pretty much ends the game. Yeah. You controlled the space really well, controlled the center of the board, threatened multiple targets, overlapping fire with the advanced gunnery objective. I'm realizing now that I have Shriv on my fleet. My fleet really wants to go first. I've thought about this game a bit, playing it, because I really want to be able to last first with the torpedo frigate and just come in. Well, not torpedo frigate, the Hammerhead torpedo corvette, technical name. Like, come in, last first, strip off an upgrade, because there's only like 12 total that you get in this game, so I'm going to take one of them away from you. Really, very fair. And then drop a whole bunch of Confire XX attacks on you, and then fly away. Because unlike in a regular 400 game, because of how like differential doesn't matter. Winning or losing is what matters. You don't really want to give up that ship for free. I'm not sure even if it were Garell's honor that I would still want it to just like bop you once and then explode in the counterfire. Because then you're trading it down. Not sure. Haven't tried it. May not even get Grell's honor. No clue. But my approach was just a little bit off to where I didn't like take the sharp enough side angle. I chose at the beginning of the game to be like, you know what? Last time we played, I didn't engage you and it was a 0-0. And might as well actually fight, see what happens. You know, for my team and my fleet, we're on a low value planet. None of my commander ships have ion cannons. Welcome to the rebellion. We're up 6 points, so the loss isn't huge if it occurs. So I might as well gauge where I'm at being able to engage all in the ISD to see the outcome, especially when it's advanced gunnery, because that's like the most dangerous it will be.
Well, thank
And
you,
it'll be more
JBC,
fun on
for
stream instead of me just casually flying away. Sure.
thank you, JBC, for checking in there. And he said, no squadron rebel list versus IDS 2 is tough. Well, you know, it's doable because he has a lot of long range gunnery. He's got a lot of red dice that he can throw at me and just pretty much nitpick at me and dance around me, which is what he did the first game. It just, because of the squads, you know, he focused more on them rather than, and I kind of flew into his trap but got away from it that first time around. Got lucky.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that. A 0-0 tie was a lot of luck in that. But yeah, this time I think I flew a little bit better and used my assets a lot better than I did that first game. But if you do want to watch that, that is actually on YouTube. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. The Phylons actually slowed down your flotilla so that it couldn't go to speed 3 and jump past my hammerhead, because I had my hammerhead sharking out of long range of the ISD-2 because I didn't want to just get blown off with 2 attacks. And it was able to, you dropped right into the double arc and it just exploded away.
Yeah, I didn't have much choice when you slowed me down.
Yeah. And, you know, of course, I get the 1 kill and we're burning for hyperspace, getting the calculations going, and I've got Vader and his TIE Advance right behind. But we made it out, so it was a loss, but like it had good moments.
So then we finished up with Jeff and Nick P. I'm sorry. Where were they at?
They were at Nile Hutta.
They were at
Yeah.
Hutta.
This was a surprising one
Because
Jeff and Nick they've kind of got like a nemesis thing going on at this point. This is their third battle. I think Jeff is 2-1 on Nick right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And after Nick won against Jeff last week, I was confident in him.
I want him to have to.
Well, again, it's a situation where you've got one fleet that is dealing with a lot of squads and one fleet that has no squads, or at least at this moment they don't have any squads. So it was an interesting battle. He had a hard time getting his Architans away.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like Jeff was able to have Nick get the allies on the table and then lock them down with his squadrons to kill them, and then he disengaged his squadrons away from the Architans and was able to preserve his win in that way by playing, you know, that kind of like KG, we're not actually going to fight, but we're going to fight like just enough so that I win.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what happened. I didn't get to see a lot of what went down over there.
Yeah. So Jeff's I'm sorry, Nick, you can go.
No, you go. I talked about our game, so
I was gonna say, Nick's Architans are so dangerous to squadrons with his LTTs. Jeff just couldn't even give Nick the opportunity to shoot his stuff. So they just didn't. What's it called? Engage. I don't even can't remember how Jeff won. I don't. Did he get half points or even kill an Architens?
He just flew away from the Architens and flaked the Allied squadrons, and then he killed both the Allied squadrons and flew away.
Got it. So he won off the objective.
Yeah.
Actually, well, this is really interesting though because now we have now Hutta and you guys have Mandalore.
Yeah.
So it kind of counteracts that ally token situation. Once we get a base there, with our
if you get it
with all our swimming and resources over here on the rebel side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Imperial engineering at its finest.
Did we have enough to set bases on both locations?
We do, but I haven't. I want to discuss with the team if we want to base Seleucami or if we want to hold 2 resources for later. I don't see much reason in holding the resources, personally. So we may base it, but we don't really need to base it.
Okay.
The Moff over here just swimming in resources.
Yeah, no, just all these credits keep pouring in. I'm just like, I just
put it in research.
What does Seleucami give? Say, even give a token?
I don't know.
Just ion.
Just ion cannon. We might just base it so everybody can get their ion cannons.
Nothing else.
And by everybody, I mean like the one other player. Oh no, I get ion cannons in my list.
I don't know. It's not really necessary.
HIEs.
Yeah. Not really necessary, I don't think. I think holding on to the resources might be good for what we do in the next round.
I mean, next turn we can just build. We can just build it later.
Yeah, if we decide to, yeah. Strategy going on while
Is,
you could just say it. It's okay.
Does Chris get PDICs? Does he become what he tried to fight against? Does he become evil? Does he fall like Anakin did?
Oh, I'm already evil. I am already evil, but you're just gonna have to wait and see what I picked up for the ISD.
I don't know. Will he pick the most powerful card in the entire game? I probably should.
For 4 points.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm noticing that torpedoes, they're not doing quite as much as I've been them to do. I see them make a lot of attack runs, and I see them kind of like not get damage to stick. And I'm thinking about it, and I think it's come down to our early opening with squadrons has made some of our torpedoes not quite as upgraded as I'd like to see them. I've been thinking about how many upgrades you actually get, and realistically, in these type of campaigns, you only see like 9 to 12 cards on average. I've done a lot of math on how many.
You're not allowed to move and talk.
How much?
The CPU says you can either sit there and stand still or talk. One of the can't do both. Can't move and talk.
Okay. So I'll sit here real still and talk, right?
Yes.
So you only get about 9 to 12 objectives in a game. Well, 9 to 12 upgrade cards in a campaign. So you really got to prioritize what minimal upgrades you need to have one of your ships be actually competent. And getting a squadron ace makes your fleets much more powerful in the short term. But eventually the non-squadron fleets seem to catch up. We're seeing that with the triple Architens. It's playing much more dangerous into the squadrons match as earlier in the campaign. My fleet, I don't know. There's not a lot of powerful, expensive point-wise upgrades that I can get on my ships that will really give me a lot of striking power for my fleet. So I'm kind of in a position.
I don't. Listen, I'm gonna push back on this MC30 slander. First off, okay, I didn't know how to fly the ship the first like 2 games. Okay, neither did Jason. All right. Third, okay, I have gotten it on target, but the problem is, if my squadrons aren't alive, they have to be there too to participate. So it's not really a ship problem. It's more of a strategy during the actual game problem, right?
It's a
I think they're
holistic
great.
problem.
I think they're great. Especially in our pivotal, Jason's MC30s flapped like 100 times, right? And then my ship also destroyed an Architect, right? Which is worth more points than it is when it got lost. So I don't know. I think our MC30s are doing pretty good, personally. Uh, Even with their limited upgrades. But because like these battles are like we come in, we fight, and then that's it. Like there's no like turning around. So I don't know. I think they did okay.
Mhm.
I think they're still doing okay. And like I really got it figured out now. Like my attack run on the Gladiator was great, personally. But I couldn't finish it off, so I got rid of all of its shields, and it's and like a hull point damage. So
I think all my defense tokens do.
yeah, like I
Yeah, it
did
worked everything.
everything I could, but like there was no follow up. So
Yeah.
I don't know. MC30s still good. I think it's situational, especially these objectives are real weird in this game. Same with squadron amounts. Like it's really weird, like flying a fleet where I have more points in squadrons than ships almost.
Yeah,
Right.
I've noticed that that's a big thing. When I was looking at before the pivotal, part of my research was, we tallied up points, and you guys had as many points in squadrons alone as I was bringing in my entire list. And so, like, a quarter of your guys' force was just squadrons, which is about. I mean, that's
It's just like real life.
that's like a real. It's like a real game. But like, you guys had like 50 points more than us in squadrons, right? And
Although
it's just
I
kind
will
of.
have to say I was getting really really irritated with the fact that I had chosen a couple of bombers as part of my fleet, and after this last game, I'm not so upset about that. Because while 2 bombers doesn't seem like a lot, they got a little bit in there to just soften up just enough to let me do what I needed to do to the assault frigate.
Yeah, bombers are crazy good. Like when they
Yeah.
hit, right?
It's just
Just getting them to the target, right?
yeah,
Just like
we
real
haven't
life.
seen
You can get one bomber there, it's game over.
we haven't seen a lot of bombers or traditional bombers because of PDICs in competitive play. Bomber Command Center is still a good upgrade.
Yeah.
Being able to see it, especially like in Pivotal, where you had like 7 bombers with Bomber Command Center, they do work, and we just haven't seen it a lot. Especially Chris playing the Imperials, like you get spoiled with Sloan and TIE Defenders and Merrick Steel.
Yeah.
And it's easy to kind of forget that, like, oh yeah, like they don't just have to do everything. Like sometimes you can just bring ships that throw black dice that sometimes crit and get doubles on a ship, and your opponent has to go like,
What am I going to do about this?
Like,
2
oh
damage,
crap.
2
Yeah.
damage to my
Yeah.
unshielded side. Great, like that's a problem. It's not just like it's 2 damage. I'm in that same headspace too. Like I've been running the super for 6 months. 2 damage, whatever. Take on shields. Like I don't even think about it. I don't even have to do math. I just go 2 damage. It's not even worth. It doesn't even hit like the level where I start worrying about it. But in these 200-point task force games, 2 black die bombers. I hate that you don't have Bomber Command Center, but I do. I don't think you would be better off in CommsNet because the ISD loves having that CommsNet puppet to help it with its token management. But I don't know. We could talk about you maybe getting that additional support upgrade at some point later on or something.
Yeah, I have one last thing that I really want to get on that ISD, and then I'm looking at doing some things to the Gazanti.
Yeah, and a big thing too is that we don't really talk about, because we try to keep everything in these episodes. We try to keep things secretive or close to the chest. We'll talk about previous upgrades, but we're not talking about like what we're thinking or what we're going in the future. But now that we're like 5 games in, how's everybody feeling about their upgrades, their commander abilities? They've been picked that have been picked so far with their fleets.
I'm ready to hear Reuben
Well,
start
ambush
cursing.
gunners is busted.
Yeah, so some of them, Ruben's right. Ambush gunner, overtuned. Sorry, I let him talk.
I think the engine. So I have, as of last game, I had Ready Defender, Gunner 1, and Nav 1. I think Gunner 1 is pretty good on the Assault Frigate A. Now, I haven't been in the match I want to be with my fleet because I keep fighting the ISD, which is a different issue. But being able to add the extra die with a modifier token, really good when you're making a double arc attack. Having nav 1 to get the nav token, and then an additional click at the last joint when you nav assault frigate navs like a CR90. And I know how to fly those. They are hard. Yeah. The Ready Defender is a waste. Now, I don't think that's intentional. I think it's a waste because we're playing too many games between each pivotal. So there's too much presence on the board compared to how the designers intended the game to be. But I've only really just realized that after doing a little bit more math after the pivotal.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I also took Ready Defender, like pretty much from the get-go. And it has never come up. And now that we've got bases in every sector, it will never come up.
Yeah, just refund it and get a new one.
Yeah, so I'm looking at cycling that one out.
Yeah, I like mine. I got Fighter Group Leader, which is top shelf.
Pretty good.
It's probably as good as it's top tier. Ruben's like it should be tier 3. I don't know if it should be tier 3 because then that's like the only thing your fleet does because you're only allowed a total of 4 tiers of stuff. I would be okay if it stayed tier 2 but cost 6 points to get, like the other tier 2s. It's weird that I can just get it for 4 points.
Yeah.
So it probably should be 6 points. And then the other thing I have is Ambush Gunner because it's obviously ridiculous. And then Rapid Deployment for Squadrons where they can go 1 to 3. But I'm just waiting to cash in my experience again to get Ambush Gunner 2. Ooh.
I mean, you can't argue with Ambush Gunner. It's just, it has been amazing, and I'm thrilled that was my first choice when I actually built my battle group. Then, with the way that my battle group is built, I just pretty much focused on making sure that the ISD had everything it needed and really wasn't concerned about the rest of the fleet because the rest of the fleet is just a Gazanti. And I think that actually made it easier for me to pick up valuable skills without having to sacrifice a lot of experience. Being able to have that Master Navigator 1 in this last battle was just huge. I can't overstate how awesome Master Navigator is. I
agree.
Yeah, and, I say. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Well, I was going to say, and Chris, I again, it goes back to kind of what you're saying. All of these upgrades, the ones that let you start with a token, are so good because it lets you skip so much of the machinery of like getting your tokens to your big ships. Like an ISD, which is Command 3, when you start with 2 tokens and you already have a Comsnet Gazanti, like you're just set. Turn 1, you can navigate on turn 1 and get whatever 3rd token you need and just go. And with Navigator, Master Navigator, if you spend your token, you can slow down and take a tighter turn. While, say you're pushing squadrons on that turn. With Master Coordinator, your token has 2 squadrons, which is super useful. Ambush Gunner or Master Gunnery, I think is the weakest of the 4 command ones, but it's still pretty good. Especially, I think Master Gunnery 2 on like a bunch of small ships. I think like if, I think Jason is going for Master Gunnery 2. I think he has it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does actually have it. And I mean, that's pretty big.
And so, like when you have like 3 ships that all start with a Confire token that can add a die on a token and a dial, like it's, yeah. I
think
with
Reuben
Vortex,
will be scary with Master Gunnery too.
Yeah. I don't do Master Gunnery 2 that much, but that's because I fly in that very nav heavy, hold the nav token, only Confire once or twice CRC 90 kind of play. So I don't need a Confire token to add a die because I've only got Command 1 ships. So I'm just gonna hold the nav token and dial up the Confires I need. I kind of feel the same way about the veterancy tokens on Command 1 ships. About the only thing I can think of where it would be useful for me is if I'm in a position where I need to nav dial token after I've flown by my target to do like a hard e-brake turn. But other than that, like it's not super helpful. It's definitely scales much better when you use command 2 and 3 ships.
Yeah.
Well, that is about the time that I have for us tonight. I do need to do some things closing out, but I want to start by reminding everybody that this week we are actually probably not going to be doing round 5 of Rebellion in the Rim. There's something going on here in the near future. What was that again?
Star Wars Armada World
Isn't there
Championships.
this, like thing in Chicago?
I'm dying, boys. I'm drowning here. I'm trying to get ready for this thing.
Yeah, so Adepticon is coming up.
We just gotta play,
and a lot of folks want to get some practice in. So while I am not going to Adepticon, so while most of the group is practicing for Adepticon, I may be taking our least experienced team under my wing and trying to get them some practice time with their Rebellion in the Rim fleet. So don't know which one we'll put on stream, and it's going to be interesting, I'm sure. So I want to thank you guys for being on the show tonight, and we'll do this again in 2 weeks after we've done round 5, which round 5 will again not be this Thursday, but next Thursday.
It won't be next Thursday.
Oh, it won't be next Thursday?
Next Thursday.
We'll all be in Chicago.
You'll all be in Chicago. Okay, so it's going to be a couple of weeks and I guess when you guys come back, we'll talk about Adepticon then.
Yes, I will shout out. So if you like Armada and you want to, Iron Radio will be streaming the entire event from last chance qualifiers to the last day top 8. So you'll be able to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, Ion Radio has a top-notch,
excellent job,
top-notch setup, and it is definitely worth watching.
We got a lot more this year.
Yeah, they got a lot more experience at this than I do.
Yeah.
So again,
and John know the game really well. Garrett's commentating, and we all know he plays way too much Gar, so he's going to be rooting for him.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy good players there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I will see you guys in a couple weeks then when we talk about everything that happened there at Adepticon, and I hope you guys have a good night.
You too.
All right, good night.
You too. See you guys.
So, that's coming events. Let me get you guys updated on what's going on. Tomorrow night we are going to have Tuesday Night X-Wing. Not sure who we're going to have on the stream. I'm tempted to go on myself because I have this build that I really am starting to get interested in. It's a double defender build, which is a lot of points, but it plays kind of interesting. So did some updates from what I did last week, and we'll see if that's any good, but I don't know if I'll have that on the stream or not. And then on Thursday, we will have Thursday Night Armada. It will not be round 5 of Rebellion in the Rim. It will be probably one of the practice games for the Adepticon group. Maybe if we're feeling frisky, we'll get me and Jason or Ethan on the stream and let them have their practice time with their fleet so that they can get a little bit more comfortable with how they're flying. And then we will be back here on Monday. This Monday will be an X-Wing week, so may talk a little bit more about the campaign that we're working on building for X-Wing, because as I get deeper into the process of trying to put together an X-Wing campaign, I'm finding that I have to make more and more changes from what the base of the Armada campaign is. And I like the basic setup, but there are some differences that are going to have to be accounted for. And I'm really looking forward to seeing if we can get that going and see what everybody thinks of it. But other than that, that is all I have for you tonight. I hope you guys have a great week. I hope you will join the Discord. There will be a link for that if you check it out on YouTube later on, or if you're watching on YouTube now. If you want to go ahead and check out the Facebook page, just look for the 13th Fleet on Facebook. We've got a group there. We'll be posting the map up there as well as in the Discord channel, so you'll be able to see the updated map. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, odds are that I have actually done a correction so that you are seeing the up-to-date map and are knowing what's going on in the Rebellion in the Rim campaign. Also have already posted the Round 4 intelligence reports so you can see exactly what the fleets are running at this point in time. So again, thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night.